The stars outside the ship were cold and endless. Captain Ryan sat alone in the cockpit, his eyes heavy after long hours of patrol. Space was usually quiet, almost too quiet, but tonight felt different. His radar blinked with a faint signal, something. Drifting in the void, Ryan leaned forward. Strange. No ID code, no beacon, he whispered. It was not a rock, not debris. It was a pod, small, silver, and spinning slowly in the dark. He hesitated for a moment. Picking up unknown objects was risky. Space was full of traps and old war junk. But something about this pod pulled at him, like a whisper in the back of his mind. With a sigh, he pressed a button. The ship's robotic arms reached out, catching the pod and pulling it into the cargo bay. The sound of metal locking against metal echoed through the ship. Ryan stood, grabbed his blaster, and walked toward the bay. His boots thudded against the steel floor, each step slower than the last. His heart beat faster. The pod door was half melted, as if burned from the inside. Strange, glowing lines crawled across its surface like veins of light. The air around it felt hot. Ryan frowned. In space, things froze. Heat was unnatural. He tapped the control panel, forcing the pod door to open. With a hiss, the metal slid aside. Inside, curled up and trembling, it's a girl. Her skin was pale with a faint silver glow, as if moonlight lived beneath her flesh. Her hair clung wet to her forehead, dark with sweat. Her chest rose and fell quickly. Her breath shallow, like she was running a fever. Ryan blinked. She looked human, but not quite. Her ears were too sharp, her eyes too large, glowing faintly even while closed. And then her eyes opened, golden, bright, burning like fire trapped in glass. She gasped, trying to move, but her body shook too much. Ryan instinctively raised his blaster. The girl's lips parted. Her voice was weak, broken, but clear enough. Too hot. Can't breathe. Ryan froze. He lowered his weapon slightly. She wasn't attacking. She wasn't even strong enough to stand. Sweat dripped down her face, running along the strange glowing marks that curled over her neck and shoulders like living tattoos. The heat coming from her body made the small pod feel like an oven. He stepped closer, unsure. "Who? What are you?" he asked. The girl tried to sit up, but her arms gave out. She collapsed forward, almost falling. Ryan caught her without thinking. His palms burned instantly, like he had grabbed a piece of metal left in fire. He hissed in pain, but held her steady. Her skin was scorching. Her entire body trembled as if fighting itself. "Help me," she whispered, her voice barely a thread. Ryan gritted his teeth. She was an alien. She could be dangerous. Bleeding. Her here meant death. He couldn't do that. Not when her eyes begged for mercy. He lifted her carefully into his arms. The heat bit into his chest, even through his uniform, but he pushed forward. Carrying her out of the cargo bay and into the ship, as they moved through the corridors, strange things began to happen. The ship's lights flickered. The temperature. Sensors screamed, warning of overheating. Ryan frowned, glancing down at her. Her body glowed brighter now, faint waves of heat rising from her skin. When he reached the medical bay, he set her down on the bed, breathing heavily. His skin was red where he touched her, like he had been burned. He quickly grabbed a scanner and waved it over her body. The screen blinked with strange results. Internal temperature far too high. Blood chemistry unknown. Energy readings off the charts. The girl's eyes fluttered open again. She looked at him, her gaze sharp even through the weakness. "Not from here," she whispered. "Body. Wrong. For this place?" Ryan's jaw tightened. He had no idea what she meant, but he could see she was dying. He reached for a coolant spray, covering her arms and face with a mist of ice. Steam rose instantly, sizzling away. Her skin cooled only for a moment before burning hot again. She winced, gripping his sleeve weakly. "They will come," she said. Her voice cracked, but fear burned in her golden eyes. "They will. Find me?" Ryan leaned closer. "Who? Will find you. Who's after you?" But she didn't answer. Her strength gave out, and her eyes closed. The ship hummed around them, louder now. Alarms beeped as systems strained against the rising heat. Ryan looked at her glowing form on the bed, sweat dripping onto the floor. She was overheating. She was scared. She was running from something, and whatever that something was coming. Ryan swallowed hard, the weight of his choice pressing. Down on him, he had brought her aboard. Now, he was part of her story, whether he wanted it or not. Outside the window, the stars remained cold and endless. But deep inside the ship, fire had arrived. The medical bay was quiet, but not peaceful. The air shimmered with heat, and the soft hum of the ship's life support struggled to keep balance. Captain Ryan stood near the door, his eyes fixed on the alien girl lying weak on the bed. Her body glowed faintly. Not like a lamp, but like hot metal just before it turns to fire. Every breath she took was heavy, almost painful, and every breath carried more heat into the room. The ship's system beeped warnings on the screen. Temperature rising, cooling strained. Ryan rubbed the back of his neck. He had rescued survivors before, pirates, smugglers, lost travelers, but never someone like this. Never someone who seemed to be burning alive from the inside. The girl stirred, eyes opening slowly. Her golden gaze met his, sharp yet filled with exhaustion. "Where am I?" she whispered. "On my ship," Ryan answered. His voice was steady, though his heart beat faster. "You were in an escape pod. I pulled you out before it drifted into nothing." Her lips trembled as she spoke. "You should not have done that?" Ryan frowned. "Why not? You'd be dead if I hadn't." The girl's eyes flickered with fear. "Now you are marked too. They will follow." Ryan leaned closer. "Who's coming? Who's following you?" But before she could reply, the ship's console beeped again. This time not from the medical bay, but from the cockpit. A proximity alert. Ryan cursed under his breath. "Stay here," he said, though he doubted she could move even if she wanted to. He rushed to the cockpit. The radar screen glowed with static, the faint outlines of something. Not a ship, not yet. But energy trails, as if something fast had passed through the area, leaving invisible fingerprints behind. Ryan tightened his grip on the controls. Whoever or whatever she was running from, they weren't far. He returned to the medical bay, finding the girl now sitting up slightly. Her breathing was labored, but her eyes were clearer. She had removed part of her heavy suit, exposing her arms. Strange glowing patterns curled over her skin. Not tattoos, not scars. They moved, shifting faintly, like lines of liquid light flowing under her flesh. Ryan stared. "What are those?" She lowered her eyes. "Not for you to know." "Not good enough," Ryan shot back. "You're on my ship. You're burning it up just by breathing. And now you say someone's after you. If I'm risking my life, I deserve answers." For a moment, she was silent. Her hands shook, but not from weakness, almost as if she was afraid of her own body. Finally, she spoke, voice trembling. "I was not made for this space. My body is built for cold. Endless cold. Here, the stars are too warm. My blood burns. My skin melts. This heat kills me." Ryan blinked. He had traveled far across sectors, but he had never heard of such a species. A girl made for the dark. Her golden eyes lifted to his. "If I stay in this system, I will die. And if they find me, You will die too. Ryan's jaw tightened. He wanted to ask who they were again, but he saw how her body shook. How? Sweat ran down her arms and sizzled against the bed. She wasn't lying. Something was eating her alive. Thinking fast, he pulled open a storage locker, grabbed blocks of ice from emergency cooling packs, and pressed them near her body. She gasped as steam rose from her skin, but for a moment, relief softened her face. Ryan watched carefully. She was not just an alien, she was something more, something unstable. The girl's voice returned, weaker now. You are human. Yes, Ryan nodded. Captain Ryan, and you. Her lips parted, and for the first time, she gave him her name. Lyra. The name sounded strange, musical, yet fragile. Lyra, Ryan repeated. All right, listen. If you want to survive, you need to tell me more. Who's chasing you? What do they want? Her body shivered. She hugged her arms to her chest, shaking her head. They hunt my kind. Use us. Drain us. I escaped. They will not stop. Ryan's stomach sank. Use them? Drain them. What did that mean? Before he could press further, the ship trembled. The lights dimmed, then flared back on. The engine groaned like something heavy had brushed against them. Ryan jumped to the console. Nothing on the radar, no visible enemy, just shadows. He hurried back to Lyra. She was sitting upright now, eyes wide, glowing brighter. Her body pulsed with light as if sensing danger. They are close, she whispered. Ryan swallowed hard. The ship was small. He couldn't fight a fleet, couldn't outrun hunters forever. But something told him this girl, this Lyra, was not only a target. She was also a weapon, and that made her the most dangerous passenger he had ever taken. The temperature in the room climbed higher. Lyra groaned, pulling at her suit, removing another piece of armor. Her glowing skin lit the chamber like firelight. Ryan turned away for a second, embarrassed, but his mind raced. Her body wasn't just overheating, it was reacting to the danger outside. And if that was true, then he wasn't just protecting a runaway alien. He was holding a fuse. One spark and the whole ship might burn. The ship felt heavier now, as if it carried not only metal, but secrets. Captain Ryan paced the narrow hallway, the hum of the engine echoing around him. Every few seconds, he glanced at the medical bay door. Inside lay Roth, the alien girl, who glowed like fire and whispered of hunters. Ryan rubbed his forehead. He had pulled her aboard because she looked helpless. But the more he saw, the more he realized she was far from helpless. Dangerous, yes. Fragile also, yes. A puzzle he didn't know how to solve. He finally stepped inside. The room was dim, but Lyra was not. She glowed faintly, her golden eyes half open, her body still trembling with heat. The cooling packs he had placed earlier had melted into puddles of water. The ship's fans whirred at full power, struggling to keep up. Ryan knelt beside her. "You're burning up again," he muttered. Lyra tried to smile, but it came out broken. "The heat, it never stops. Your ship is too warm. Your stars are too close." Ryan grabbed a tablet and tapped quickly. He rerouted extra power into the cooling system, lowering the air temperature. Cold mist spread through the room, wrapping them in a thin fog. For a moment, Lyra's breathing steadied, but then the ship beeped coolant reserves, dropping fast. He couldn't keep this up for long. Ryan cursed under his breath. "What do you need?" "Ice. Water. Tell me what keeps you alive." Lyra's voice was soft, trembling like broken glass. "Cold, darkness, silence. My home was frozen. Stars there were weak, kind. We live in shadow. Here, everything is too bright, too loud. My body cannot fight it. Ryan studied her face. She was young, maybe close to his age. Yet her eyes held something older, something scarred. You said someone's chasing you, Ryan said. Who are they? Lyra closed her eyes for a long moment. Then she whispered, my hunters, my captors. They call us fuel. We burn for them. They keep us in cages, take our fire, use it for their ships, their weapons. We are not people to them. We. Our engines? Ryan's chest tightened. Engines. The thought of using living beings as fuel made his stomach turn. You escaped, he said quietly. Her golden eyes opened again. Yes, but escape has a price. They never let us go. They mark us, track us. Even now, they are coming. Ryan's hands curled into fists. He had seen slavers, pirates, raiders, but this was worse. This was cruelty wrapped in science. The ship jolted suddenly. Ryan shot to his feet, checking the monitor. No enemy ship appeared, but something else was happening. The heat, the ship's metal groaned as temperature levels climbed. The fans screamed, trying to keep balance. He turned toward Lyra and froze. Her skin glowed brighter than before. The glowing lines across her arms pulsed, alive, like rivers of molten light. She was overheating fast, her body almost too bright to look at. Lyra. Ryan rushed to her side. She shook her head weakly. I can't control it. The fear, it feeds the fire. If it grows too strong, your ship will die with me. Ryan's heart pounded. He couldn't let her burn herself out. He had to find a way. He yanked open a locker, pulling out more coolant packs, slamming them onto her skin. Steam hissed, the packs melting instantly. It's not working, Ryan muttered. Think. His eyes darted to the maintenance panel. Pipes ran beneath the floor pipes, filled with liquid nitrogen for emergency engine cooling. Dangerous if handled wrong. Deadly if spilled. But maybe it could save her. Ryan made his decision. He ripped the panel open, cold mist spilling out. His hands shook as he rerouted the flow, dragging a tube toward the bed. Lyra's eyes widened. What are you doing? Helping you, Ryan said firmly. Don't move. He pressed the tube against her skin. A blast of freezing vapor burst out, coating her arm. She gasped, arching her back, steam rising into the air. For a moment, Ryan thought he had killed her. Then her body cooled. The glow dimmed slightly. Her breathing steadied. Ryan let out a long breath of relief. But Lyra looked at him, her eyes wet with tears. Why? Why help me? I am danger to you, to your ship, to your kind. Ryan met her gaze. Because you asked me to? Because I couldn't leave you to die out there. And because, he hesitated, then added softly, no one deserves to be hunted like an animal. Lyra stared at him, silent. For the first time, her face softened not just with exhaustion, but with something like trust. But that moment didn't last. The ship's alarm blared again. Ryan rushed to the console. His stomach dropped. This time, there was no mistake. On the radar, 3 red dots. Moving fast. Enemy ships. Lyra's glow flared, her body trembling with fear. She gripped the bed, whispering, "They've found me." Ryan's jaw hardened. He grabbed his blaster, his eyes locked on the screen. Then we fight. The girl's golden eyes burned brighter. Fear mixed with something else, hope. Outside, the stars shifted as the hunters closed in. Inside, the fire was waiting to rise. The alarm echoed through the ship like a warning bell. Red lights flashed across the cockpit, painting Captain Ryan's face in sharp shadows. On the radar, 3 crimson dots grew larger by the second. Enemy ships fast and closing. Ryan's fingers flew across the controls, rerouting power, shifting shields. His ship was strong enough to outrun pirates, maybe even a patrol, but 3 unknown hunters. That was different. In the medical bay, Lyra stirred. She felt it before Ryan even told her the pressure in the air, the heavy weight in her chest. Her golden eyes snapped open, glowing brighter. Her skin pulsed with heat, marks of fire crawling across her arms. "They are here," she whispered. Her voice carried fear, but also certainty. Ryan rushed back into the room. "Stay down," he said sharply. "I'll handle this." Lyra shook her head, gripping the side of the bed. "No, you don't understand. They are not like you. They do not ask. They take. If they see me here, they will destroy you too." Ryan knelt, his face close to hers. "Then we don't let them see you." The ship jolted as the hunters locked onto his vessel. A sharp vibration rattled the walls. A voice crackled through the comms, cold and mechanical, unidentified ship. "You are carrying stolen property. Surrender it now, and you may live." Ryan's jaw tightened. He didn't reply. Instead, he switched the comms off and powered the engines to full. The ship roared forward, stars streaking past the windows. The hunters followed, their sleek vessels glowing like black knives in the dark. Lyra clutched the edge of the bed, her body glowing hotter. She could feel them, her captors, her hunters. The marks on her skin burned like chains. She closed her eyes, whispering to herself, "Not again, not again." Ryan dashed back to the cockpit, his voice sharp through the intercom. "Lyra, hold on. I'm going to shake them." He twisted the controls, diving into an asteroid field. Jagged rocks spun past, massive shadows tumbling in silence. The hunters didn't hesitate. They followed with deadly precision, slipping through gaps like predators chasing prey. The ship shook violently as fragments scraped against its hull. Warning alarms screamed. Ryan gritted his teeth, sweat dripping down his temple. "Come on, girl," he muttered to the ship, as if speaking to an old friend. "Hold together for me." But the hunters were faster. 2 ships flanked him, herding him toward open space. The third loomed behind, charging weapons. Back in the medical bay, Lyra stood on weak legs. Her body burned, glowing like molten stone. She staggered to the corridor, each step leaving faint scorch marks on the floor. She reached the cockpit doorway, clutching the frame for support. Ryan spun around. "What are you doing out here? You'll burn yourself out." Her golden eyes locked on him. "If they catch us, you die. If I burn, at least you live." Ryan shook his head. "No, I don't leave people behind. Not you." The ship jolted as a blast grazed the shields, shaking them off course. Sparks flew from the console. Lyra winced. Clutching her chest, "They won't stop," she whispered. "They can smell me, feel me. I am theirs to them." Ryan's hands tightened on the controls. "Then we make them choke." He pulled the ship into a sharp roll, diving beneath a spinning asteroid. The hunters followed, but the move bought him seconds. Not enough. Lyra's body glowed brighter. Heat waves shimmered around her, warping the air. Her voice was strained. "If I let the fire out, it will burn them, but it may burn you too." Ryan glanced at her, sweat dripping. "Then we take the risk." Lyra stared at him. For a moment, silence hung heavy. No one had ever said that to her before. No one had ever chosen to share the danger. She closed her eyes, her body trembling. Slowly, she peeled away the last pieces of her armor. The glowing lines spread across her entire body now, blazing like rivers of fire under her skin. The cockpit filled with golden light, brighter than the stars outside. Ryan shielded his eyes, steering the ship into open space. "Do it now." Lyra raised her hands. Energy pulsed from her, invisible yet powerful. The hunter ships shuddered. Their sleek black frames groaned as if trapped in a storm. Lights flickered across their hulls. She gasped, forcing more of her fire outward. Heat built inside the cockpit, metal creaking as if it might melt. Ryan's teeth clenched, sweat pouring down his face. But he held steady. One hunter ship broke formation, spiraling away. Its systems fried. The second burst into sparks, engines failing. Only one remained larger, stronger, its weapons locking. Onto them, Lyra cried out, her body shaking violently. She fell to her knees, flames dancing from her skin. Ryan knelt beside her, grabbing her shoulders. "That's enough. You'll kill yourself." Her golden eyes met his. "Better me. Then, you." The last hunter fired. A blast of red energy shot across space, striking Ryan's shields. The ship screamed, sparks exploding across the panels. Alarms howled. Ryan wrapped his arms around Lyra, shielding her as the cockpit filled with fire and smoke, and then silence. The blast had missed full impact. The shields, barely alive, had held. But the last hunter still loomed ahead. Circling for another strike, Lyra collapsed against Ryan's chest, glowing faintly now. "Weaker than ever. They won't stop," she whispered. "More will come." Ryan held her tightly, his eyes hard on the radar. "Then let them. This fight isn't over." The stars outside flickered with movement shadows of more ships, waiting at the edge of the void. The hunters had arrived, and they weren't done. Smoke drifted through the cockpit, thin and gray. Sparks hissed from a broken panel, filling the air with the sharp smell of burned metal. Ryan coughed, wiping sweat from his face. His ship groaned like a wounded beast. But it still held together. Lyra lay slumped against the floor, her glow dimmer than before. Her golden eyes flickered open slowly, weak but still alive. Ryan knelt beside her, lifting her carefully. "You pushed too far," he muttered. "You almost killed yourself." Her lips curved into a faint smile. "Better than letting them. Take me." Ryan studied her face. She looked fragile now, her fire no longer blinding. Yet he remembered the power he had just seen, the way she bent energy itself, the way whole ships broke under her heat. She wasn't just another alien fugitive. She was something more, and he needed to know what. He carried her back to the medical bay, setting her gently on the bed. The ship hummed under his feet, trying to recover. The last hunter ship was still out there, circling like a wolf, waiting for weakness. But Ryan needed answers before the next strike. "Lyra," he said, his voice firm, but not unkind. "What are you?" Her eyes flickered. For a long time, she said nothing, as if debating whether to tell him. Then, in a soft voice, she whispered, "We are firebearers, not machines, not soldiers. My kind are living energy, born from frozen worlds where the stars are weak. In the cold, our fire sleeps. But out here, near bright suns, our fire wakes. Too much heat, and it consumes us." Ryan frowned. "Living energy. You mean they use you like fuel?" Lyra closed her eyes, pain flashing across her face. "Yes. To them, we are not people. We are batteries. Weapons, engines for their warships. My sisters and brothers, they are chained, drained until nothing remains. I ran, but I cannot run forever." Ryan's stomach turned. He had seen cruelty before: pirates who sold slaves, warlords who burned colonies, but this was worse. Using living beings as power. It was unthinkable. He asked quietly, "And you? Are you there?" Princess. Leader. Lyra shook her head. No crown, no throne, only bloodline. I carry more fire than most. That is why they chase me. My flame is strong enough to power a fleet. To them, I am treasure. To me? She paused, her voice breaking. I am a curse. Ryan sat back. Stunned, a living reactor hunted for her light. That explained the hunter's persistence. They would never stop. The ship trembled again. A warning flashed across the console enemy lock-on. The last hunter was preparing another strike. Ryan cursed under his breath. He tightened his grip on the blaster at his side. So that's it. They'll keep coming until they drag you back. Lyra's golden eyes softened. Yes, they always find us. We are marked. No place is safe. Ryan looked at her for a long moment. He should have been afraid, terrified even. Keeping her aboard was a death sentence. But instead, something inside him hardened. You're not property, he said. His voice was steady, steel beneath the words. Not to them, not to anyone. You're alive. That means you get to choose who you are. Lyra blinked, staring at him. No one had ever spoken to her like that. For a moment, her lips parted as if she might cry. But instead, she whispered, You don't understand. To fight them is to fight an empire. Ryan's eyes narrowed. Then let it be an empire. I've fought worse odds. Before she could answer, the ship shook violently. The hunter had fired again. Shields flared, cracking like glass under pressure. Ryan dashed to the cockpit. The enemy vessel filled the window now, black and sharp like a predator's fang. He armed his weapons, but he knew the truth. His ship was too small, too weak. One more direct hit, and it would all be over. Behind him, Lyra staggered into the cockpit. Her body glowed brighter again, though her legs trembled. Stay back, Ryan barked. But she shook her head. No, if I hide, you die. If I burn, we both live. That is the truth of what I am. She raised her hands. Light spilled from her skin, golden rivers flowing like molten fire. The cockpit glowed brighter than a star. The enemy ship wavered on the radar, systems struggling under the energy wave. Ryan shielded his eyes. Lyra, stop. You'll kill yourself. Her voice echoed, soft but fierce. Then let me choose my death. Energy burst from her body, slamming into the hunter's ship. The enemy vessel cracked, engine sparking, hull breaking apart. One last scream of metal land, then silence. The hunter's ship drifted, burning in the dark. Lyra collapsed instantly, her glow fading to almost nothing. Ryan caught her, holding her against his chest. Her skin was ice cold now. Her fire was almost gone. Ryan's throat tightened. Stay with me, Lyra. Don't you dare leave me now. Her eyes fluttered open weakly. For the first time, her lips curved in something close to peace. You don't know what you've done. More will come. Stronger? I am not. Salvation. I am the spark of war. Ryan looked out the window at the drifting wreck of the hunter ship. His grip tightened around her. Then let the war come, he said. His voice was steady, unshaken. Because this time, humanity fights back. Lyra's eyes widened faintly, golden light flickering inside them. For the first time, she believed him. But in the silence that followed, deep beyond the stars, Ryan's radar blinked again. Not one signal. Not 3 dot. Dozens dot. The Empire was already on its way. The stars outside the cockpit burned with new light. Ryan stared at the radar, his stomach sinking. Dozens of red dots filled the screen, crawling closer with every passing second. Not pirates, not scavengers. A fleet. An empire the hunters had found them. Behind him, Lyra lay weak on the floor, her glow faint, her body trembling. She had given everything to destroy one ship. But now, dozens more moved in. Ryan clenched his fists on the controls. His ship was small, fast, but no match for a fleet. The shields were cracked, the engines tired. Alone, he could not win. But he wasn't alone anymore. "Lyra," he said, sharply, her golden eyes flickered open. She looked pale, almost hollow, as if the fire inside her had nearly burned out. "It's too many," she whispered. "Even if I burn again, I will not survive." Ryan's jaw tightened. "Then we don't let you do it alone." He rerouted power to the weapons, charging every cannon the ship had. The cockpit filled with warning lights, low reserves, damaged systems, failing shields. He ignored them. The first hunter ship appeared on the horizon, sleek and black, its weapons glowing red. It fired. A blast of energy tore across space, striking Ryan's shields. The ship shook violently, alarms screaming. Ryan gritted his teeth. "Hold together, girl," he whispered to the ship, his old companion. Then louder, "Lyra, I need you to help me aim." Her weak voice trembled. "Aim." Ryan pointed at the glowing lines on her arms. "Those markings. They react. Don't. They. You can feel energy. Track it. Guide me." Lyra hesitated, then slowly nodded. She crawled closer, her hand brushing the console. At her touch, the radar flickered, changing every enemy ship pulsed brighter, their weak points glowing. Faintly, Ryan's eyes widened. "You've just painted targets." The first ship closed in. Ryan fired. A cannon blast streaked through space, striking exactly where the glow pulsed. The hunter ship exploded into fragments. Ryan grinned. "Now we fight." One after another, hunter ships swarmed in. Ryan weaved through them, his ship dancing between blasts of red fire. Lyra guided him, her glowing hands pressed to the console, her voice soft but steady, left, higher. Now. Each word directed his aim. Each blast tore into an enemy, breaking them apart. But for every one destroyed, more came. The fleet spread out, surrounding them like wolves around a single prey. Ryan's ship shuddered as blasts hit the hull. Panels cracked, fire sparked in the corridor. Lyra winced, clutching her chest. The heat inside her built again, rising uncontrolled. "I cannot hold it. The fire, it wants out." Ryan grabbed her hand, his voice fierce. "Then let it out. But not alone. Feed it into the ship. Into me. Together." Her golden eyes widened. "If I pour it into you, it may burn you alive." Ryan smirked grimly. "Better burned than dead." Lyra closed her eyes, trembling. Slowly, she pressed her palm against his chest. Heat surged into him instantly, fierce and wild. Ryan gasped, his body burning as if fire had replaced his blood. But with it came clarity. The ship's controls glowed brighter under his hands. Every system surged with new power. The engines roared. The cannons burned hotter. The shields flared back to life, glowing gold instead of blue. Lyra's energy had merged with the ship through Ryan. "Let's show them what happens when they pick the wrong fight." Ryan growled. The ship shot forward, faster than it had ever moved. Enemy fire streaked past, but Ryan dodged with inhuman precision, guided by Lyra's burning power inside him. He fired blast after blast, ripping through hunter ships, tearing the fleet apart. Lyra's voice echoed in his mind now, not just his ears. Left flank, 3 ships. Strike now, he obeyed. The cannons flared, golden light pouring out. 3 hunter ships exploded in unison. But the fleet was vast. For every ship destroyed, 5 more closed in. The empire was endless. Ryan's body. shook the heat almost too much to bear. Skin burned, sweat poured down his face. He could feel Lyra's fire consuming him from within. "Lyra," he gasped. Her voice trembled inside his mind. "If I stop, you die. If I continue, you may still die." Ryan gritted his teeth. "Then keep going. If this is the end, we make it count." The largest ship appeared, then the flagship. Massive, dark, bristling with weapons. Its shadow swallowed the stars. Ryan's radar filled with red warnings. That ship alone carried more power than a fleet. Lyra's eyes flared, golden light blazing through tears. "That ship is where they keep them, my kind, caged, drained. If we fall, they remain slaves." Ryan's chest tightened. He wasn't just fighting for survival anymore. He was fighting for them, for her people. He pulled the ship straight toward the flagship. Enemy fire rained down, tearing into his hull. Panels exploded. Systems failed. Still, he pressed forward. "Lyra," he said, voice hoarse. "One last strike, you and me. Together?" She nodded weakly, pressing both hands against his chest. Her fire surged into him, into the ship, into every wire and circuit. The whole vessel glowed golden, brighter than a star. The flagship's weapons powered up, red light building. Ryan's eyes narrowed. Now, the cannons flared, fueled by Lyra's burning soul. A massive beam of golden fire tore across space, slamming into the flagship's core. For a heartbeat, silence, then explosion. The flagship split apart, flames swallowing its massive frame. The shockwave rocked the stars themselves. Ryan's ship spun, battered but alive. He coughed, barely holding the controls. His vision blurred from the heat burning inside him. Beside him, Lyra collapsed, her glow dim, her fire almost gone. The battlefield was silent now. Fragments of Hunter's ships drifted in the dark. They had won. For now, Ryan held Lyra close, whispering through cracked lips. "We did it." Her golden eyes flickered weakly. "No. This is only the beginning." And then her light went out. Silence. Returned to space. The battlefield was nothing but drifting, wreckage-broken Hunter ships. Burning fragments, twisted metal spinning slowly in the void. The massive flagship was gone. Its remains glowing faintly as fire ate through its shattered hull. Ryan's ship floated among the ruins, barely holding together. Panels were cracked, alarms still blinking weakly, smoke curling through the cockpit. But it was alive. He was alive. Ryan slumped in the pilot's chair, his chest heaving with exhaustion. His hands were blistered from the heat, his vision blurred from the fire that had surged through him. He could still feel it, faint traces of Lyra's energy, lingering in his veins, burning like a memory that would never leave. Beside him, on the floor, lay Lyra. Her glow was almost gone. Her skin looked pale, her golden eyes half closed. She was still breathing, but each breath was shallow, fragile, as if her life was a candle struggling against the wind. Ryan knelt beside her, pulling her gently into his arms. "Stay with me," he whispered. "Don't you dare leave me now." Lyra's lips curved in the faintest smile. "You are stubborn. For a human?" "Damn right I am," Ryan said, his voice rough. He brushed a strand of damp hair from her forehead. "Q. Didn't burn yourself out for nothing. We destroyed their flagship. We beat them." But Lyra shook her head weakly. "No, not beaten. Only delayed. The Empire does not fall with one ship. More will come. Always more." Ryan's jaw tightened. He knew she was right. Empires didn't collapse overnight. Especially not ones that saw living beings as tools. But he wasn't about to let her despair. "Then we'll fight them again," he said firmly. and again, until they stopped coming. Reese's golden eyes shimmered faintly, searching his face. Why? Why fight? For me, for my kind. They are not your people. Ryan looked at her, his voice low but steady. Because no one deserves chains. Not you, not anyone. Humanity doesn't bow to empires, and neither should you. For a moment, silence. Then Lyra closed her eyes, tears slipping down her cheeks. Not tears of fear, but of relief. Ryan carried her back to the medical bay, setting her on the bed once more. He patched what he could, stabilizing her body temperature with the last of the coolant packs. She was weak, but alive. The ship drifted. Through the wreckage, engines running low. Ryan managed to reroute enough power to limp forward. He checked the radar again and froze. New signals blinked at the edge of the screen, bigger than before. Dozens. No, hundreds. The Empire was coming. Ryan cursed under his breath. His ship couldn't take another battle, not like this, not alone. He turned to Lyra. She was asleep now, her glow faint but steady. For the first time since finding her, she looked almost peaceful. Ryan clenched his fists. He couldn't let them take her. Again, he wouldn't. He pulled open a storage locker, retrieving an old transmitter. It was a relic from the wars of his youth, a beacon coded to call one thing help. From humans, Ryan set the beacon on the console, his finger hovering over the switch. If he activated it, the signal would spread across space. Every human ship in range would hear it. Traders, smugglers, colonists, maybe even the scattered remnants of old fleets. It would tell them one thing. Humanity had a fight on its hands. Ryan's gaze hardened. He thought of Lyra's words, her people in cages, drained for power. He thought of her fire, her pain, her courage. He thought of the empire that believed it could enslave life itself. No, not while he breathed. He pressed the switch. The beacon lit up, pulsing bright, its signal screaming into the void. Humanity fights back. For a moment, silence. Then the console crackled. A voice answered, rough and familiar, carrying the grit of a soldier who had seen too many wars. This is Commander Hale of the Free Fleet. We got your signal. What's your situation? Ryan almost laughed. He hadn't heard that name in years. But now, it was hope. He looked back at Lyra, still sleeping. Situation, he muttered. Complicated. He switched the comms on. This is Captain Ryan. I've got something the Empire wants. Something worth fighting for. And if we don't stand together, none of us will survive. A long pause. Then Commander Hale's voice came back, firm and certain. Understood. Hold position. Reinforcements inbound. Ryan leaned back, exhausted but alive. For the first time, he wasn't alone. Humanity had heard the call. Outside the window, the stars burned brighter as the Empire's fleet approached. But this time, the void would not be silent. This time, humanity was ready to fight. Ryan looked at Lyra one more time, her fragile body glowing faintly in the dark. He whispered softly, almost to himself. This was only the beginning, and the stars ahead promised war.